So it's been a while since we've done anything fun with the Golf R, and we are gonna start doing some more. So today, we've got a brand new set of AST springs to put on it to give it a better stance, and we're gonna walk you through how that all goes on. All right, to get started installing these springs, we're gonna get the wheels ripped off the backside and begin back here. It will be a quick, simple process. We basically just have to drop the lower control arms and then pop them back up. So these cars are pretty simple. Really, we just have to get this spring released. So we'll be dropping down this control arm this way. We've got to remove the sway bar in link, this shield here that's blocking the bolts from the other side, and then we'll be disconnecting our strut and knuckle, allowing this to come out. We'll be doing both sides at the same time to get everything done as quickly as possible. Do note, on cars that have adaptive front lighting and oftentimes mag-ride or DCC, you've got a sensor that lives on this control arm back here. Make sure to disconnect it physically, not necessarily the electrical connector, but you don't want to attach to that arm when this comes all the way down because it will break, and it is not a cheap level sensor. Gotcha. Okay, now, don't do that. Now we'll get these end links over here. There's a good amount of tension held between the spring and the control arm, so it's best to push this up against it and make it so that your bolts here on the knuckle and the strut are not tight. That way when you remove them, you don't damage the threads or the holes. And you don't have a control arm and spring flying down at Mach speed. Voila. And we'll go ahead and bring this up a little bit more. Take this. There we go. Now this side will come down freely. Still got our end link holding on a little bit. All right. So, now when you put these springs on, they do screw onto the lower pad. So you'll get it clocked just right, and then as you spin it, it'll sit down into its seat. That will ensure that it sits properly. And now that we've got the rear springs placed, time to button everything back up. All right, so on these cars, there's more than one way to skin this cat. But as we begin on the front springs, what we'll be doing is dropping the knuckle with the strut and removing a bunch of weight so that it's much more manageable. And that will enable us to get the spring swapped over without too much difficulty. So we'll start pulling some components back and we'll have this out in no time. Now, the front side on the Golf Rs will have two height sensors in the front as well. So we will disconnect those to prevent them from getting broken when we move our control arm down. We have loosened the control arm bolt, disconnected the nuts from the ball joint to the control arm. Now, that will allow us to move that much more freely. We can put the ball joint stud in front of the control arm, separating it out. That was surprisingly not tight. So, we have the awesome setup of having DCC here, so we'll get all of our connectors disconnected. All we have to do is disconnect it from the top and the whole assembly will come out. But we're gonna take the rotor and caliper bracket off to drop a significant amount of weight, make it a lot more manageable, and make it so that we don't have spinny, hard to hold things sitting on the front. There's a reason for taking the dust shield off. One, it can be sharp and cut the living hell out of you. And two, they're quite fragile. So with this much weight, you set it down wrong, gets bent, and then you've got stuff rubbing, not fun. So 3 bolts, quick, easy, take it off. All right, now that we've got everything else disconnected, time for this whole assembly to come down. So, I'm assuming that we're going to be reusing our hats here. And these have exceptionally, English! Exceptionally short bump stops, so I don't think that we'll have a problem with them. We'll remove our spring. And this is not right, for the record. That one is. This is falling apart and is not supposed to be stuck to the bottom. They get mounted into the bearing, and you'll notice where it actually failed, they just didn't get it clipped in all the way. There is a little spot that has a soft spot, which when you get everything in, you can pop it in, and then when you put pressure down on it, it'll snap into place. All right, now these hats are directional, and they do need to be mounted back into the vehicle the same way that they came out. And the easiest way to determine this, so this is the back of the strut, the inside of the strut. So this faces the inside of the car, and on top of your hat, you'll have a little indicator here. That goes on the inside. And the one bolt hole that is elongated from the other two goes on the outside. Now note to Got one out there. I get them started like this. I don't blast them on. There are a number of ways to successfully do this, but I use a long 7mm Allen wrench and a 21mm socket that I hold with some vice grips. All right, so we are bottomed out there, and we'll once again center our bearing, and we are good to go on this guy. This will get torqued down once everything is in, but she's ready to rock and roll. All right, so once you get this up in here, you get everything started. It's a little tricky because it's heavy, but that's okay. We've got our one inside screw in place there, and that will allow us to start getting everything put back together here. Alright, so once you get this up in here, you get everything started. It's a little tricky because it's heavy, but that's okay. We've got our one inside screw in place there, and that will allow us to start getting everything put back together here. But just like when we're taking it out, or when we got everything put back together, that one elongated hole from the other two is this guy. The holes that these bolts go through to hold the top hat of the strut on are a little bit bigger than the bolts themselves, and so there is a potential for variance in alignment, if you will. Really, you can push them forward and pull out caster, push them back, add caster, push them in, add negative camber. To push them in, you get the camber out of it, but beyond that, when you push them in, it centers them on that hole, so it will be at the centermost point and the innermost point, and it will be even on both sides. So you can see there's quite a bit of movement allowable here. So pushing it straight into the inside of the car will give us the most accurate setting between both sides. So some folks can find it challenging to get the axle reinstalled back into the knuckle while getting the control arm and ball joint situated. What I can tell you is that rotating this to roughly 45 degrees will give you a good flexible way to get the axle started and manipulate the ball joint onto the control arm. Loosening the control arm here will help a lot by giving you quite a bit more movement. So we'll get everything put back together, and hopefully how we do it helps too. So rotating the ball joint outward will give you a little bit more flexibility and room. As mentioned before, we've been keeping the axle bolt in there to prevent any grease from coming out. And then with the knuckle rotated, you can rotate the axle towards it and then start coming back. And as you do, you can get them to line up. Hopefully. There we go. And it's easiest to rotate the spindle and then wiggle the axle in. And then we can pull our control arm down, twist our ball joint back, and be good to go. Now, our axle is being a little stubborn, but that's okay because our axle bolt will pull it right back in. Get that down. Go. Got to get that down. Go. Yes. With this side buttoned up, we'll get the other side finished, and then we'll show you what it looks like with a little bit of low in its life.